there, everybody. Today I'm gonna talk to you about a movie that I basically reviewed all the Halloween movies, but I left one out, Halloween 3, because it doesn't have Michael Myers. It does have Michael Myers on a TV clip, a trailer that's on TV, but in a in a bar or something. But that's all you get. Now, this movie was directed by Tommy D. Wallace, who and written by John Carpenter. So, Tommy D. Wallace was, I think he was also one of, you have Tommy D. Wallace, I think you have Frank Lucas. What was the name of the first, The Shape? Or Nick Lucas? I'm not real. I can't get the name right of the first Shape. Nick Lucas or Frank Lucas and Tommy Wallace and John Carpenter, they had a band together and they sang. Was the band good? Not not per se, because they written a song for Showdown in Little Tokyo and it looks really bad. The MTV glowing and the 90s MTV glowing. No, but he does it too. John Carpenter's music is now legendary because he goes on tour with his sons and they play the guitar and he's playing the piano and he's standing there like, he's, how old is the guy? I don't know, 70 or so. And standing there like, always really going for it. And now back to the movie Halloween 3. Now, like I said, directed by Tommy D. Wallace, who turned down the Halloween 2 sequel, and John Carpenter as writer. And this one was their original idea. They had the idea of every Halloween comes a new horror movie, so a new threat, instead the Shape always being the Michael Myers. But the fans loved the Shape. Mustafa Akkad loved the Shape, that they, Michael Myers, that they always wanted to bring him back. And they tried, and the movie bombed just because of no Shape, no Michael Myers. And they didn't do a bad job, because nowadays this movie is getting recognized and gets a good cult following. And I like the movie. You got Tom Atkins, who's playing Daniel Chalice, Dr. Daniel Chalice. Stacy Melkis as what's her name? Green Dwidger, weird name. Then you've got Dan DeLehey as Colonel Cochran, who also plays in Twin Peaks. I love Twin Peaks. You probably heard of it. I think it's the true balance of drama, romance, mystery, thriller, and horror combined, and the crazy mind of David Lynch. But Colonel Cochran is in that one too. So Dan DeLehey is in there too. But I think Stacey Malkin is called Chris. And okay, so what happens is you've got a guy being followed. The guy, he falls down and eventually he gets to the ICU. They take him in. Dr. Tom Atkins, he patches him up. And then, of course, one of the robots outcome, who is Dick Warlock, who was Halloween 2 shape, and pokes out his eyes. So they're pretty gory, and not that this movie is really gory per se. Like I said, John Carpenter and Tommy D. Wallace and Deborah Hill, they didn't like gore in their movie, just tension, good tension, and good creepy atmosphere. So Tom Atkins sees the body of the guy, then he sees the guy that he thinks who's done it going out in his car, and he's putting gasoline on him. It wasn't Dick Warlock, but Dick Warlock is later on one of these basically droids that are created by Colonel Cochrane. He pours gasoline on him and sets him on fire, and the entire car blows up. So the day next, Chris is coming to see what happened to her dad, and Tom Atkins is like, okay, yeah, he was killed by a guy in a suit, and he committed suicide outside. And she wants to know more. She wants to know more because he had this patch with him, and it has the sign of the company of Colonel Cochrane is boss of. And Tom Atkins, Dr. Chalice, he comes home and he has like 3 kids, and who's the wife? Nancy Loomis. And she's always nagging at him, but his ex-wife, they're divorced, but he's never there for the kids. He's always working. My personal opinion, he just wants to get the fuck away. They bought those Daniel Cochrane masks, which is a pumpkin head, a witch, and then what was the third one? Was it the ghost face? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that one. Which one that was? The witch and the pumpkin face, I know, but eventually he calls up Chris, and he says, "How is it going?" And Chris says, I know where I have to go. I have to go to this town, this small town that's basically owned by Colonel Cochrane, because the factory is big and it's a factory town. And he says, okay, I'll go with you. Not for the reason that he wants to find out, for the reason that he wants to get into her pants. That's Tom Atkins for you. It's Tom Atkins for you. So they're staying at this motel together, same room, one bed, and you already have some sexual tension there. And then a few other people arrive, one with a bagel, one in a car, who apparently ordered some masks, but they didn't arrive yet, and she had to come there to pick up her masks herself. And she has the coin too, with the head, the pumpkin head. And she starting and of course at this time, Tom Atkins got his wish. He's screwing Chris. So at this time, okay, she opens the pumpkin, the hatch of the pumpkin label, and coin basically, and there's this piece of rock, and this piece of rock beams through through her mouth, and her mouth is like completely open, and insects are coming out. And like, Chris, did you hear that? Stop! I didn't hear that. So, okay, it's just the movie. I mean, I'm not gonna spoil it because a lot of people didn't see this because they didn't want to see a movie without Michael Myers, and I do understand that. I really do, but it was a good idea that just failed. Maybe not if it would be later on and Halloween was made later on, maybe it would have worked. Although I don't think Halloween would have worked because back then in the 70s, they sort of didn't mind low budget movies. Here and now, they do mind low budget movies and they think it's garbage. And but yeah, it was a good idea, but I think the thing is they created lightning in a bottle with the first one, and they created a perfect enemy, and they wanted that enemy back. That's the way it is. And of course, I think this one's from 1983, so this one was after Halloween 2, so they got Halloween 2, and but even there, he's dead. Basically, they think he's dead in any case because he's on fire. But yeah, John Carpenter and Tommy D. Wallace had this idea. Okay, every Halloween, let's make another movie, and then it flopped. It flopped. About basically what's how they put the stones that are put in the coins are basically uh, pieces of a giant rock that was stolen at Stonehenge, and the rock that holds magical powers apparently. And Colonel Cochrane is basically sort of a witch, a male witch. But then, of course, and that's the thing I didn't want to spoil. Tom Atkins goes to the company, and he gets captured, and then you've got to see the movie for itself. I think it's a good movie. It's got great, like, it's got that Carpenter tension and creepiness, and atmosphere. The entire town where Colonel Cochrane uh, created this factory is creepy because you've got all these droid guys, which one of them was Dick Warlock, and also he kills somebody by squeezing. That was a gory kill where he squeezes the guy's head and their eyes popping out, and he smushes the guy's head. But so this movie was fairly gory for a, let's say, not directed by Carpenter, but Tommy D. Wallace. But I'm sure that John Carpenter always has a sort of, I'm not saying scenes. Let's say that John Carpenter would probably set more in Halloween 2 because he didn't know who Rick Rosenthal was, and in this movie he knows who Tommy D. Wallace was, so probably gave the wheel more to Tommy D. Wallace and gave him ideas, and in Halloween 2 he just did what he wanted and make an own John Carpenter cut. So yeah, like I said, good atmosphere, good tension, creepy moments, good acting, good act. I'm not Tom Atkins being who he is once you get in everybody's pants. And the thing is, and that's what I wanted to say is the mask holds a power when the ad is on TV. Is welcome on to Halloween, 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 welcome, something like that. And when the ad is over, you have to put the mask on, and your face shrivels away, and insects are coming out. And of course, the kids of Tom Atkins, Dr. Chalice, bought the same masks. So he's in a rush, but he is captured. So that's the thing I didn't want to tell you. What's gonna happen? Is he gonna stop Colonel Cochrane? Is he gonna save Chris because she was napped before this? After the sex scene, she was napped. Because she went on her own. Dumb idea. And like I said, the entire town is basically watched by all these droids, patrol cars, cameras. It gives you an eerie feeling. It's like Big Brother, Big Brother in a bad way. Yeah, so it's creepy. It's creepy. This movie, for me, it gets a 7 out of 10. It's a great movie. It's a great, they had a great idea, and personally, I wouldn't like it when they just kept it with Halloween 1. This one was, I think, from 1983, so this one came after Halloween 2. I liked Halloween 1 and 2, the nicely combined movie, that it's just one movie, one big movie, and knowing what happens with Loomis, what happens with Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, and that's it. Myers dies, Loomis dead, sacrificed himself, and Laurie's safe. That's what I wanted to see, and then I didn't care if every year you came with a different movie, because John Carpenter is my favorite director. Maybe, okay, this one was Timothy Wallace, but John Carpenter had the idea of also directing a few movies. So, I mean, the second movie, my favorite movie, a horror movie, is The Thing, sort of a sci-fi creature movie. So, I've got a lot of John Carpenter movies in my top 10, 20 that I like. So, he's great. But, yeah, this movie, you feel his presence, but Tommy D. Wallace is like a protege of Carpenter, and you can feel that he learned a lot from Carpenter. And like I said, there's this almost the same feeling you had in Halloween, you can feel a little bit in this movie. So watch it, give it a try, and let me know what you think.